Hello, everybody. Welcome to this version of Internet Traffic Kings. I'm John Fondi, the Big Fat Boo, and of course, we're on the campus here at UNLV, kind of shut down like everything here in Las Vegas is. So we're going to give you guys an opportunity to really kind of spread your wings a little bit. We're going to bring some experts onto the show. We're going to talk about changes in life, changes in your attitude, and possibly changes in the way that you can change your life as well. And that's why we're going to bring these experts on and tell some great stories, take us back in the past from time to time for some of the great shows we've done, some of the wonderful people that we've had opportunities with, and some of the stories that we have. So right now, I'd like to introduce the original ClickFather, Kevin DiVincenzi. Welcome, Kevin.
Hey, John, how are you?
Very, very well, thank you. Very well. We're kind of lonely here. There's only 2 people on the campus here right now, and so it gives us a good chance to really dig in and talk about backgrounds. And so we've all
exactly. We changed our backgrounds.
That's right. You know, attitude changes our attitudes and changes our backgrounds and stuff. So, Kevin, interesting week this week. All kinds of things have gone on. Anything exciting with you?
No, we're just chugging along. You know, we did the pivot 3 weeks ago, and we're just continuing on our path of redefining our business and seeing what the future holds. It's still a weird time. You know, they think that the pandemic is going to hit the all-time high this week in New York, which we're seeing so far, and let's just play it by ear and see what happens. You know, it's going to be an interesting summer for sure.
Have you seen any changes in your customer base and what the direction they're going in?
Absolutely. Consumers are not spending any money on big ticket items, obviously, but internet traffic's gone up quite dramatically. So what's happening is because the traffic's gone up, you can buy traffic a lot more cost effectively as well. So I think Facebook had a 35-40% increase in traffic last week. So meaning that there's 35-40% more people online, more impressions, you can spend more money.
But do you think that's because more and more people are actually they're self-containing and staying
Absolutely.
at home?
Yeah, I think people are finally taking it seriously and doing the social distancing, which is going to help for sure.
You know, I'm just wondering if this is going to have an overall effect or a change in the way we do business moving forward, even after this pandemic goes away.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's going to change. Even the schools are talking about now, are they going to do summer programs? And what we're hearing is, yes, they will, but then they don't know what the fall program is going to look like as far as kids going back to school. So it's going to change the way everybody does business. I think a lot more people are going to work from home. A lot more companies are going to say, hey, I don't really need this commercial office space anymore. And just do telecommuting because they have to at this point. It's not even an option, right? Everybody's stuck telecommuting. So if they can figure out how to be efficient about it, it's going to be a big change. So I wouldn't want to be holding a lot of commercial real estate right now. I'll tell you that much.
Well, that's so true. In fact, people were talking about with all the changes that are going on and people now don't have to pay their rents and stuff like that. That has a trickle-up theory where it trickles up to the property owner, then trickles up to the bank, and then trickles back down to the government. And so
well, it's not that they don't have to pay their rent. They're still financially obligated to pay their rent. They just can't be evicted right now. So the unfortunate thing is people that, you know, weren't affected by this, and I realize a lot of people are taking advantage of the system. And that's what really hurts in this, you know, in this situation. So, you know, my pool guy at one of my properties, he's got 17 properties in Vegas. He said 16 out of 17 didn't pay him this month, and nobody's paying him for pool service. So he sent me an email and said, hey, you know, can you help me out? Because literally nobody's paying right now, and I can't have these pools go green, so I'm still going to service everybody. So what I did just to do my share is I said, just bill me for the year and I'll pay you right now just to help you out. But, you know, that's who's really going to get hurt is a small business. And, you know, and that's the backbone of this country is small businesses, you know.
And it kind of seems like we're not really seeing the loans going through like they should be going through.
Well, they're going through, but they're so far out as far as the digital line is growing by the day, right? So the more the digital line grows, the longer it's going to take for this underwriting to happen. So it's not a good situation, especially for small businesses. I think restaurants are going to have a big challenge reopening, you know, having to retrain staff, pick up new staff. There's a lot. We're going to see a big fallout. Plus, you know, people are creatures of habit, right? It takes 30 days to change a habit. So if you're home for 30 days, all of a sudden you're like, hey, you know, I really don't need that Starbucks every morning. I really don't need to go out as much as I have been. I can just, you know, home drink, or I can do these things. So, well, you would know all about that, John. So,
I think I've
so
got a
I
martini
think
sitting right here.
I'm sure you do. So I think that's really where we're going with it. I think it's going to be a lot of changes over the year.
So, well, as we go through those changes, I've actually been hearing things like, "Hey, this is the way we thin the herd, and like we thin the forest, and things of that nature." And there's something to
Sure,
be said about that. Kind of the natural way of this comes in to just kind of readjust things as well.
sure, I agree.
For some reason, I'm not. My video is not coming up on the screen. Are you seeing me on the screen, other than
Yeah, we see you in your palm tree.
the big screen or the Brady Bunch?
I see the Brady Bunch on top of the big screen.
And when I talk, I'm on the big screen.
I just see Brady Bunch.
Yep. Oh, I see
Okay,
the big
good.
screen. I see you on the big
Yeah, I
screen.
put it on speaker view. I can see you now.
Okay. So
There
yeah,
you
it's
go.
just not coming up on mine. Okay. Well, that sounds awesome. But so anyway, we've got some great guests that will be on the show. Of course, Bennett Kelly's going to be with us. Going to talk about kind of a freestyle of things with business risks and cybersecurity and things of that nature. But we're about to introduce a fellow that we haven't seen for a while. At least I haven't seen for a while. He's got a great past and a great history. And he's a great guy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our good buddy, Scott Raja Richter. Welcome, Scott.
How you doing?
You even put the Raja in there. Look at that.
Yeah. How's it going, guys?
Oh, it's going
Good,
good.
good.
I don't think I've seen you for, gosh, probably about 10 years or something like that.
Yeah, definitely been a while.
Yeah, last time he was wearing a bikini on the bull. Remember? That was the last time. The bikini
That's
Friday.
right. And the great thing about that is he actually won that contest, didn't you?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did as well. So yeah, we've kind of put together this really great show, the Internet Traffic Kings, and we're just bringing in, getting the band back together, and want to thank Webmaster Radio and Brasco for kind of engineering it for us as well. And so we're just kind of catching up with everybody and really letting not only the people that have been in the business for a long time know what's going on and stuff, but we're going to have a lot of new people that are going to be coming in wanting to reinvent themselves, Scott, and see what they can do to maybe change what's going on. And that was a big part of the conversation Kevin and I had before you came on, is that I think we're going to see not only some challenging changes, but also if you apply yourself, you're going to be able to make some really good changes in your life. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely the landscape over the last 20 years has constantly changed. And now with the, different stuff, I think one thing is this has taken a lot of people who actually never did buy online and actually introduced them to buying online, which is only going to help, for marketing more stuff online, especially for product fulfillment and product sales. But I mean, the thing is, what are the products in the future that are going to be high in demand? And will people also, the other downfall to all this, will people have that extra cash to, a lot of the items that we sold, via affiliate marketing weren't items that anybody ever woke up and said they needed. They were items that, just magically appeared in front of you, in ads and, just like today. And you say, you know what, that looks pretty interesting. Maybe it's, worth throwing $30, $50, $100 trying these magical pills or, some new cleaner or, some new item. Will people in today's world have that, extra discretionary money to spend on these items now?
Yeah, I saw today here in Las Vegas. By the way, I'm still in Las Vegas. We're at UNLV, Scott. Welcome to drop by anytime. But there's a new app that's out here in Las Vegas where you can go on this app and it will tell you who has toilet paper and paper towels in stock. So that just kind of shows you how things adapt and how they change.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no, it's like me and Kevin have discussed several times, during this. It's never seen anything like this. Never want to see it again.
That's true.
Well, we're talking about restaurants before you came on, Scott, as far as how they're even going to adjust. They say it takes 30 days to make or break a habit. So if people aren't dining out now for 30 days and they're at home, how's that going to change when this is over with? Are people going to dine out less? And how's that going to affect restaurants and small businesses as a whole?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely think. I think the good news is millennials don't really care. I think they're at that age group where they feel that if they did get sick, they're going to survive. And they don't really care. The downfall is millennials don't gamble. They don't spend money as crazy as older people do. A big downfall is a lot of business, especially for restaurants, 30, 40% of their early bird business is senior citizens. And I think where the problem for restaurants and casinos and buffets, stuff like that, food-wise, is a lot of seniors are going to be afraid to go out now. So they may depend more
Right.
on food delivery or so. Well, I think I think the millennial group is going to come back strong. Is going to support restaurants. Like I said, they don't have the fear. They're not. If you're 25, while younger people have passed away from the coronavirus, the odds are very slim. Those people aren't going to live in fear. But if you're 60 and older, I mean, honestly, you shouldn't go to any place that has 25 or more people gathering in a small area. I mean, you're just, until we have a vaccination, I mean, you're just rolling the dice.
Well, that's the next point, right? Concerts, any other gatherings are probably off for a year, right?
Oh yeah, sporting events, any of that stuff. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in a football stadium with 78,000 other people right now.
Right. Yeah, I think it's gonna change the way people view events and what happens.
And then, I mean, you need to keep sports. I mean, I think the big thing actually will be colleges, because if colleges don't have the college sports going on, they don't have that income to give the scholarships. Plus, the other thing is, if colleges don't, if schools don't return back to an on-campus situation, while some things you can learn Spanish, online with no problem. You can learn, math online with no problem. But you can't become a doctor. You can't become an auto mechanic online. You have to be hands-on. You have to put in your hours. Different trades require in-school, training.
Right.
You can't learn
training.
Be a nurse and give shots, at home.
Hey, Scott, you've got an interesting background. You've been in the business for a while. To kind of lead us through, kind of how you got started and some of the ups and the downs and where you landed, which I think everybody's going to love to hear.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been in the affiliate space now 20 years. Before the affiliate space, I was in the vending machine business and then the restaurant and bar business. Stumbled into the affiliate space. Went through first email marketing, then email submits, ringtones, product sales, done the whole gamut online. Then launched a traffic program. So after affiliate.com, we launched the parking place and redirect.com, which was for domain, started out as domain monetization. Then we realized we could monetize anything with it. So then we started just monetizing, anybody who had traffic, can send it to us. And we launched some ad serving stuff.
Right. So domain monetization, just to explain it, is, let's say, John, you had a bunch of domains that you registered years ago and they're getting traffic. People are typing in the traffic, but you're not doing anything with that site. Scott's then taking that site and leveraging it where people can buy ads on it and buy control of that site for the time being. So that's where the revenues derive from it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that in many cases kind of could be very encouraging to people that own those domains to, rather than sell them off, to actually start using them and
to make money on them. Yep.
Yeah. So it was pre-smart browsers and stuff like that. It was, but the one thing with the domain business, unfortunately, now is most traffic now is direct navigation. People have apps on their phones. Nobody's typing in anything. Back in the day, if you typed Facebook and you only typed 10, there was a lot of traffic to that name, or if you type 3 O's. But a lot of that type-in traffic has kind of evaporated. And Google now they know what you're typing before you know what you're typing.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, John. I was at a show with Scott 10 years ago, and there was a guy we nicknamed Beetlejuice because the guy looked like Beetlejuice. And Scott goes, "Hey, go talk to him. What's the guy own?" And the guy owns DOND.com. And DOND.com every Tuesday and Thursday, I think it was making $3,000 to $4,000 a day in revenue. And we're thinking, what the hell is DOND.com? Deal or no deal. So people were shortening it and going to the browser and putting in DOND.com, and this guy was monetizing it. Crazy.
Yeah. No, back in the day, it was crazy how much some of these names used to do a day or a week or a month.
We used to go to the auction, Scott. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
until they didn't have open bar anymore. It wasn't fun.
That's so true. Those were some of the days.
Yeah.
So tell us now what you're doing now. You've got a new website and you've got a great following. What prompted that, and how's that going for you?
So a long time ago, Kevin got me into gambling really bad.
Yeah, because I am 20 days older than him, so I played the big brother role and said, "Let me teach you the ropes."
So I've loved to gamble my whole life since I was 18, 19. I've been into slots, casinos. One thing I've never actually been into is like the sports bets and stuff like that. But yeah, slot machines, blackjack, stuff like that. I've loved my whole life. So like 6 years ago, 5, 6 years ago, I was dating a girl and we just started putting like some of my slot videos. She was bored, so she would record some videos, throw them up on YouTube. And it's just, people started watching them, getting traffic, and just kind of took off from there. And then started a new YouTube channel, I don't know, 3 years ago now. And we just hit yesterday 233,000 subscribers on it. So it's been, growing really well. But it's fun, we used to go live, once, twice, 3 times, sometimes a week from the casinos, and we're traveling all over the place. We're having, groups of 100, 200 people coming to the casinos. We do these things.
I think Connecticut, I was talking about Connecticut. I think in Connecticut, Foxwood, 400 people come, right?
Yeah. That was the first time too, like we ever even did something. It's so crazy because you don't really, I was used to like the affiliate stuff. I'd be at the shows and people, knew who I was and obviously from, the affiliate space, but it's crazy how like, in this whole space, how, just so many loyal fans and, terrific people I've met and follow, become followers, friends. Part of it, we have a group called a Patreon group, which is a private group that people, pay anywhere from $5 and up a month to be part of, which gives them extra privileges, and more stuff that we do for them. And it's great. We have almost 1,000 people in that. And we also, the biggest thing we did is we launched a slot app. So I said, obviously YouTube revenue, you make a little money on YouTube and different stuff, but being in the affiliate space, and as it started taking up more time of mine, I said, what else, could we do with this? So we came out with an app. The idea originally for the app was to be more for notifications and just alerts. But we put a game on it, and the game actually started getting a lot of play, and people really liked it. And over the last year and a half, we've evolved the app, into a full-blown slot app, like some of the top ones out there, and it's just done tremendous. We get about 200-300 new downloads or installs a day. Out of that, about 30% of the people convert to a user, and it's a great time. It has a great community aspect with it. Made it different than other slot apps, where most apps are just focused on selling people coins and coin sales, where our app is focused on taking the machines, and we have different boosters that allow you to do different things while playing the games. And people have really, it's been incredible, and the excitement around it.
Well, that's awesome. Right now, we're going to take some time to bring in another gentleman. We say he needs no introduction, so we never introduce him. We just got him come on screen. But anyway, let's have a big warm round of applause for the big dog, Bennett Kelly.
How you doing?
Good to see you, man. Hey, as we're kind of talking about all this online gaming stuff and everything, do you ever find any of that stuff crossing your desk?
Well, the big problem is that in the 2000s, we passed UGA, the Uniform Interstate Gambling, basically Unlawful Interstate Gambling Act, and that barred online gambling across the board. And now you're slowly starting to see some online gambling keep creeping back at the state level. And there's an ongoing battle between the Justice Department and some of the states that are allowing online gambling through their lottery commission. And
I think there's 26 applications pending from states right now for online gambling.
Yeah.
I mean,
so, and in addition, oddly enough, I don't know if you remember that there was a Peter Sellers movie, the Mouse That Roared, where this poor country decided, after seeing what we did for Germany and Japan, that they'll declare war on the United States, and then the United States would rebuild them after they beat their butt, and they ended up winning. And so along those lines, Antigua, which lost a quarter of its economy after we banned online gambling, actually took the United States to the WTO and won, and supposedly is supposed to get $21 million a year in damages, which the U.S. has refused to pay. And got to the point that the WTO said if Antigua, if it wants, can just recoup it by basically ignoring U.S. copyrights up to for a certain period until it gets its annual $21 million, which obviously would then make them the Pirates of the Caribbean. And but every time they threaten to do that, the U.S. says, you really don't want to do that, trust me. And they back off. And so it's still at a standoff.
Well, I think what's also interesting is I think a lot of the online gambling's been blocked by the major casinos, and now I'm sure they wish that they actually were able to allow people nationwide to gamble. I mean, think about Caesars, right? The Caesars app, I'm sure, gets a lot of play, free play, mind you. But could you imagine if they had live gaming right now? They could maintain their membership points. They could maintain their everything, right?
So the Obama administration eased off and basically said, we're really going to enforce federal gambling laws for sports betting. And
Right.
then the Trump administration, which owed a lot to Sheldon Adelson,
Right.
they basically reversed that position as a gift to him. And so if there's a change in administration, maybe there'll be a change in policy as well.
Well, this is a question basically not only for you, Bennett, but also for Scott. How do we see that affecting places like Las Vegas or Atlantic City?
So, I don't see a big impact on that. I think it's extra income, because I mean, for one right now, like obviously all the sports betting online or in casinos is closed. But with the casinos, most of the so and like New Jersey, for example, each casino, they made it so each casino gets 5 licenses, and then they can give those licenses out. So for example, like Resorts World has 5 licenses. One of their people that they're partnered with is DraftKings. So all the DraftKings live sports betting and all the DraftKings live slot play goes through Resorts Casino's license. So each casino they gave licenses to. Same here in Colorado, just passed, not for the online slots, but for the online sports betting. So 3 or 4 casinos are going to have live sports bets or sports rooms inside of them for betting, and then the other ones have access to do the apps online. So they've kind of made it so that they can all participate in it. So it's not like one casino would have. It's not like one casino would have an edge in the state versus the other casinos.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a Showtime reality series called Action, which actually documents all the legalization of sports betting in New Jersey. It's pretty interesting.
A lot of people are staying at home watching TV now, but more so than that, Bennett, we're finding more and more people now are working from home. Are there pros and cons and some risks to that as well?
Yes, there are a lot of them, and one is the first thing you got to do is make sure you have a cyber secure environment and that you understand how to what the rules of the road are. For example, right now there's a huge spike in phishing attacks. So make sure that you or your employees understand, only open links that they trust. And so the whole Sony attack, that the North Koreans did after that lousy movie about killing Kim, that was done just by a simple phishing attack. Someone clicked an email that they shouldn't have, and they entered their password and not opened the gates. So we just did I organized a webinar through the state bar that talked about the various issues on working from home and the cybersecurity issues, and it's going to be at on YouTube of the California Lawyers Association, their page, and they have a series of webinars we've been doing in reaction to COVID-19, and that includes cybersecurity. There's also employment issues. So if you have hourly employees, you need to make sure that you're paying them appropriately. And so how do you monitor whether or not they're working 6 hours, 12 hours? Right. And so you need to be able to monitor their time online as a way for you to figure out what they should be paid. And,
well, there's a lot of tracking software out there, Bennett, that that from Upwork and all the other ones that's been out there already that you could probably utilize.
You also need to figure out the insurance aspect. Am I covered if there's a data breach from my
right.
for my employees at home? And so there's a lot of issues on that, and you just need to give it some thought. But the biggest thing is just tell people to be smart in what they're opening, and that'll go a long way.
I will say, I haven't seen cyber attacks really on the rise or anything like that right now. But one thing is I noticed that email, you get a lot less junk mail right now with all the Indians under quarantine, and the robocalls have pretty much all stopped.
I've been getting a lot of emails that I've noticed that look suspicious, but the robocalls are down. But one thing is also back up your data so you're not subject, as susceptible to ransomware. And sadly, there's been a spike in ransomware attacks on medical facilities.
Yeah, and we're actually seeing a lot of things. Even Zoom was compromised a little bit as well. So some special instructions went out.
Yeah, they say Zoom's not very secure.
Yeah. So So they're trying to talk us through that a little bit. So we've got a
So
few minutes
Scott,
left.
oh, sorry, yeah, I was just going to go back to Scott again. Just as far as the restaurants, because I know you own restaurants as well, and bars, entertainment type venues. What's your feeling on that? I mean, what are you going to be able to reopen, and what are you doing currently with your workers?
Yeah, no, it's definitely taking a hit on that. So I have a sports bar and also an adult entertainment club, and the adult entertainment club we immediately shut down because I didn't think we were going to sell enough chicken wings and frozen pizza. But they have, at least the states have tried to help some of the places that are open by allowing them now to do liquor delivery and to-go liquor sales, which I'm sure they'll take it away when this is over. But at least it's something to try and help them. And then at my sports bar, so originally when they said 2-week closure, we stayed open to do delivery. But when you have a business that does $4,000 or $5,000 a day and it goes to $300 a day, it's just, it wasn't really worth it. And with the stimulus money, it really makes no sense because we're actually going to pay employees more than they were making to not work. So my employees are actually better off we're better off being closed and collecting the stimulus. And you want to have as much people on the stimulus because then you get that extra, money to cover your expenses. Like I said, I think it's great for business. At least businesses hopefully won't lose any money. But the thing that people are forgetting about, especially when people are talking about this big rally in this market, is there's no upside when people have no profits. That means nobody's going to go spend any money. So it's definitely interesting. But yeah, it's definitely been hard, and having employees, and I mean it's a forced closure, so it wasn't like we've laid them off or we had business problems. And like I said, as soon as this is over and we can reopen, we definitely will. I think the business will actually come back, but we'll never make up for that downtime. It's not like we're going to open up and you're going to do $100,000 in one day and be like, oh, we made up for that 30 days we were closed.
Right.
And then I think the biggest question, which nobody seems to have an answer for, is how do you reopen this country? How do you come out of this? How do you I've thrown some. I think some of the stuff that Trump's trying to do, or the government, is say, look, you guys know what happens if everybody social distances, everybody wears masks, wears gloves, does all this crazy stuff every day that nobody wants to do, and we're going to bring the curve down, and we have enough ventilators, we have enough medical supplies, we have enough hospital beds. I think that's what they're trying to gear up for. But how do you, if one person started all this 4 months ago or 5 months ago, one person, as long as one person still has this, the whole thing can happen again. And even it's amazing in a crisis how fast the FDA and all these agencies can work to actually get stuff done. But it still doesn't matter. We're not going to have a vaccination until January 2021 at the earliest. And then how do you get 500 million people in America all vaccinated, immediately?
Well, that's no, you're absolutely right. And that's the thing, is it's like the flu, right? The flu just keeps coming back, year in, year out. So I think we're going to have another challenge come flu season, when the weather
gets cool. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be very interesting. How do you reopen? Because I've even said, and especially having one that's just a bar, I think bar and restaurants are going to have the bar aspects are going to be tough, and nightclubs to reopen. But let's say they say restaurants can have 25% capacity, or every other table. Or,
that's what I was going to ask. Even like going to sit up at the bar, are they going to separate the seats by 6 feet? Is it?
Yeah, and you're still stuck with if a family of 5 walks in, if the cook has coronavirus, and even if you limited restaurants to 10% capacity, if your cook has coronavirus and coughs on everyone's food all day long, and you eat it, like I said, this just never ends. So I don't know if Trump's or the government, obviously Trump leads the government right now. I don't know if they're looking to say, look, we have 1 million ventilators, we got it covered if you get sick. But I was reading the statistics. 80% of the people who go on a ventilator don't make it. It's only a 20% survival rate if you wind up on a ventilator. So like I said, I think no matter what happens and we reopen the economy or we start reopening businesses, just the amount of money that seniors spend, and you have to remember, even through all this, seniors are on Social Security. They're actually not being affected by this. They're actually saving money, because where they used to go out and spend money, now they're actually collecting their, Social Security or, pensions or whatever, and they're actually going to be ahead money. So they're actually financially in great shape, right? They're not really actually being affected. There's, but the millennials and that,
great point.
30, 40, 50-year-olds right now, they just said the mortgage there's about to be a huge mortgage crisis, happening. They just said it's about to be a huge mortgage collapse. I was watching, those people are where this whole money is, and unfortunately, $1,200 in stimulus doesn't go far.
Yeah,
Right.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that on our show next week with Bennett. But right now we've got a segment where we go around the horn and we say, tell us things that we should know and things that we need to know. Kevin, why don't you start out?
The things that we should know: stay home. Just we should know and need to know. Yeah, stay home, and being in internet marketing, we're in a very unique position where we can still do what we love and still make money. Just find opportunity where you can provide value. That's the main thing. Not capitalize on all the different scare tactics out there and everything, but see where you can actually provide value. As I mentioned before, we changed our business. Did a full 360, and a lot of it is taking on health insurance, Medicare, things like that, markets that people need help in. So yes, we're making money at the same time we're helping people. So that would be just the goal. And I think for Bennett as well, he's able to work from home. So a lot of professions you can work from home and still be able to do what you do. It's as I said earlier, that small businesses, the restaurants, the bars, the mom and pop, little boutiques, they're the ones that are really suffering. So my advice would be, when we do reopen, go out and support those guys. Don't support the big box retailers. They're going to be fine. Support the smaller guys that the guy with the little corner shop that's just trying to make a living, because those are the guys that you're going to see a lot of closures.
So, and Bennett, things we should know and the things we need to know.
Sure. One thing you might be useful to know is the Federal Trade Commission has been tracking coronavirus scams. So go to the ftc.gov and they have a link to the latest updates on coronavirus scams. And so just be alert to that. And in terms of what you need to know is be safe inside and outside. Practice proper cybersecurity at home. Be careful what you click on, and go outside. Wear a mask if possible.
Yeah, as far as the scams, Bennett, I think in Vegas, the Nextdoor app had an alert up 2 weeks ago where people were walking around in full body uniforms, knocking on doors saying we're corona testing you and robbing the people. So yeah, it's definitely it's definitely yeah.
I look really good in that suit as well.
Yeah, you did. And the other thing was, Bennett, you mentioned off camera, and now I'm just going to call you out on it. Was it Oregon that has the adult club? So Portland. So Scott, in Portland, an adult club, they're now doing food delivery with the girls.
Uber Eats.
Uber Eats. There you go.
Yeah. I've seen some interesting concepts. One club has, I think in Vegas they had the truck where people could drive through the parking lot. I saw for social distancing lap. Yeah. I think in Kansas or somewhere or Nebraska, I don't know. They had a tent they put up at a club, and you drive your car through that with girls dancing. I thought about it because, like I said, it is interesting. That they are allowing to go order drinks to go, and I thought about it for PR. I could open up and we could have a girl on stage and a bucket there, and you could come to the bar and get beer to go, and I guess you'd have to include food with it, so we could give them a pack of chips and salsa or something, but. Outside of the PR aspect, at the end of the day,
come watch the girl in the bubble.
at the end of the day, I felt there'd be very little profits, and people, if they want liquor, go to the liquor store, and it didn't make any sense to do.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. I want to thank our guests for being here. It was really great to see you again, Scott. Thanks so much. I'm glad you're doing well, and we want to kind of keep you in the loop on the future shows that are coming up. And Bennett, the big dog Kelly, we've got some fun stuff we're going to talk about on our next show. Stay safe, Bennett, and
Thank you.
keep your ear to the ground, because we're going to kind of ask you some questions as well. And of course, the Click Father, Kevin, as always, very interesting, and thanks so much for producing this show. The show itself is a non-sponsored show, and it's really being done for the benefit of our existing viewers, our existing friends and stuff, but also the new viewers that we have. And so each week we're going to identify different topics. And Kevin, let's give a website out if we can, so people want to write in questions for our viewers.
Sure. It's internettraffickings.com. So you can just send to info@internettraffickings.com. The two T's, right? Yeah. We'll put it up on an overlay, and then in regards to Scott, it's www.thebigjackpot.com.
Yeah, or
And what's
or www.onewon.com.
and then as far as your app, if they want to look up your app in the App Store, Scott, what's the name
Yeah,
of
so on the iOS or Android, it's under the Big Jackpot.
Okay, that sounds
Easy
awesome. And
enough.
if you send a question in and we do use it, then Bennett's going to give you one of his Rolls Royces as well.
There you have it.
Got it.
So for all of us here at Internet Traffic Kings, we want to thank you so much for listening in. You can go back into the archives and listen to the other shows that you haven't seen with them, and also stay in touch with us for future shows. So Bennett's getting ready to go out and rob some people right now. Nevertheless, for the Internet Traffic
I think it's
Kings,
upside down.
I'm the original Big Fat Boo, John Fondy. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.